This is Morus alba Fruitless Mulberry, and Fruitless Mulberry is simply a male variety of Morus alba. The females produce a fruit much like a little blackberry. So we're going to deal with the male varieties that are sterile for the sake of landscape design, because they're much cleaner. You're looking at a nice mature one. Here's another one next to the street, and in a moment you're going to see some of the fall color. The one you're looking at here is right at the middle of fall, starting to turn a little, has dropped a few leaves, but you're going to see here in a moment that they turn a really nice strong yellow in the fall. So Morus alba is a large tree. These get 40 to 50 feet tall and wide. They're a beautiful heavy shade canopy tree and have large dark green leaves that you'll see here again in a moment. And the leaves are kind of interesting in that they come in different shapes. Some of them are kind of heart shaped, some have a simple oval to them, and they have kind of deeper veining. But good looking tree, very nice as a large shade tree. I think the biggest challenge with this tree for me, here's a good look at the leaves. They have some serration around the edge. See how that has lobing right there? Some of them have lobes, but some of them do not. So some variation there in the leaf style. So the biggest thing that people tend to know about this tree is that it has shallow roots, and that's probably as a design challenge, probably the biggest one. Here, well, I'm going to jump around here, I'm sorry about that, but here's the understory. And the other thing that happens with this tree, because it gets so large, it's usually pruned incorrectly. This is looking at the roots. It's been used as a street tree here, and you'll see how much the sidewalk has been broken out and re-poured. So you see how there's a hump there? That's because as the tree roots got bigger, it lifted the sidewalk and they had to replace it. So this is the understory view, and the reason I gave that view is because these are beautiful trees when they're left to do what they naturally do, which is they provide a very large canopy. And because they're so large, they're not the best tree to use in most situations. They need a lot of space. A 40 to 50 foot tree is a big tree, like you can see here, and most spaces are you need something smaller than that. So when using these in design, I think a park situation or a very large property where it can be put at an outer edge or in an area where shallower roots won't be a problem is really what you need to be looking for. My brother has a property in a hot inland valley in Northern California, and whoever originally landscaped it put a number of these trees together to shade an entire part of the property, and it works very well as this large high canopy that they prune those trees into. So I think that's a good use of this tree, really leveraging how much shade that it produces. For most residential uses, I don't think it's appropriate. It's just too much tree, and what happens is people end up pollarding these, and pollarding is what you see where people have cut the branches way back every winter to where maybe the lateral branches are only 3 to 6 feet long, and then in the spring when they start growing, in one season they grow 10 feet or more in one season in these long whips. And then you get this very dense ball-shaped tree that for me doesn't have any real aesthetic value, and it's too dense to really put over the top of anything that like a patio, because it doesn't feel nice to be under it, and you still have the root issues. So for me, if you're going to use this, you want to put it in a space where you can see it the way you see here with the nice open canopy underneath, and really let it spread out and do its thing. When these are young, they grow very quickly, and it's a good idea to prune the lateral limbs each winter and leave an upward facing bud so that the branches don't get ahead of themselves and get too heavy and break. A lot of fast growing trees, that's a problem when they're immature, is that if they grow too fast, they kind of tear themselves apart, and the limbs on this tree are quite heavy. These can take some low water, definitely, once established, but they prefer some more regular water. Whenever you have a tree with leaves this large, they're losing a fair amount of water through that leaf surface, so usually replacing that with some regular water is a good idea. These trees are very cold hardy. They're hardy down to minus 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. They're native to China. So can be used in a lot of different areas, even in Hawaii. So I think that's what I can tell you about Morus alba Fruitless, Fruitless Mulberry. Excellent large shade tree in the right spot. Enjoy.